If you want to know how to set yourself up for success in the new year, you have to tune into this episode. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Sports Performance Podcast. Welcome all new listeners and welcome back to those who have heard our content in the past. If you want to know how to set yourself up for success in the new year, you have to tune into this episode. Before I go on to the podcast, what is new in the sports performance world? First and foremost, I don't know, for those of you listening or excuse me, viewing on YouTube on this episode, it's always recorded video. I'm sporting a brand new um, sweatshirt that we just came out with recently. So you have to grab yours wherever you are in this country. And you need to stay warm with our brand new beige stone colored sweatshirt. Anyway, that's what's happening. We have some exciting news coming up. Whenever you listen to this, this is recorded right after the holidays or right after Thanksgiving in 2022. Wherever you are, I know that a lot of you are coming off of a great family time in the holidays. We have some exciting news that I will release throughout this podcast. But if you are interested in some holiday savings, that is something to look forward to. We have our new merchandise, great. We have some new opportunities in the new year as well. We have some potential. Mm, Memberships at Sports Performance, and we're looking at developing our first wellness club where we are here to help you, and we have listened to you. So we have some new programs coming up soon. So I'm really excited to launch that. But that's what's happening with the team. We are looking to establish some new and new targets and new goals for our company, and I'll talk about those in our podcast as well. But this is about you. What are we talking about, and why are we talking about this podcast? I get this question often from clients, people who've been with us for a long time, people who just started with us. First, they say, like, I wish I found sports performance sooner. And I always ask why. I'm always skeptical. Why? And they say, it helps me stay on track, right? Like I needed solutions to the problem that brought me here, which is most of the time it's pain or aches or something interfering with their life. And they didn't know how good they could feel. And so they're like, okay, great. Like, I don't want to feel like that again. What do I need to do to make sure it doesn't happen again? And then I get the question of, now that that's good, how do I set myself up next year? So most people think about things that are interfering with their life, and then they start thinking about, well, I don't want that to happen, how to prevent it. And then they start thinking about, well, how do I want the next year to look like, and how do I advance without things interfering with me? And that's really what why this podcast came about. People have asked, how do I set myself up for success next year? Whether that's like their health or their fitness. Um, Most people are trying to figure out, how do I keep the weight off? How do I avoid the aches and the pains? How do I keep it away? Some are getting closer to surgery and they're like, I want to continue avoiding that. Or some people have had injections in their back or their knees. They're like, I don't want to live that life anymore. I'm feeling great or I'm feeling horrible and I want to feel better. So there's a couple different scenarios here. But if you asked why I did it, it's because we're getting the questions. And I want to set you up for success into the new year, which is depending on you when you're listening to this. For us, it's 2023. And so I had to dig deep. And for those of you who know, I had a big transformational year in 2021 and 22. And I want to share that story. And I also want to share my reflections on how that now impacts your health and your fitness. And if you can ask, hey, Chris, what are your top 3 to 4 things that you can give me to take home with me, wherever you're listening, whether you're in California or you're in Texas or Florida, wherever you are, it's going to help you the same way. And it's all the advice that I give our professional athletes. It's the advice that I give to my youth high school athlete. It's advice that I give to my 45-year-old, busy parent who doesn't have time for themselves. And I want you to listen closely and take this to heart that This is my story. This is everything that I give. And I know for a fact it will help you if you use it the right way. All right, so here we are. How to set yourself for success in the new year. Number one, it sounds so cliche, but if you don't have this first step, I got nothing to work with. I have absolutely nothing to work with. And if you say, oh, Chris, I don't like resolutions, I don't like all this stuff, I'm not talking about resolutions. You need to establish, ready for this? 1 or 2 goals for the year. Now, you're like, Chris, that's even harder. Yeah, but most of the time, people only do about 20% of what they actually try and set out to do. And I want to set you up for success the opposite direction. And I want you to be able to accomplish 80% of everything you set out to do. So we're going to shorten down your goals. I do this with everybody, all my clients, pros, it doesn't matter. What's the main thing you want to do? So for a professional athlete, it might be like, I want to jump 1 inch higher this year, whether it's a high jump, or if it's an athlete, I want to run 0.5 seconds faster. And for some people, that's like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of work. Other people are like, oh my gosh, that would take me so amount of time. The more and more elite you get, the harder it is to make those gains. Now, if you're saying, hey, Chris, I want to lose 40 pounds this year, that's fantastic. I would leave it at that. That's your one goal. If it's a large goal, you're going to have one goal. If you have 2 intermediate goals, 2, no more than 1 or 2 goals, that's how you're going to make it. So my story is that I think it was 2020, kind of like that year of COVID, I had a deep reflection, and I had to be honest with myself. Am I happy with myself? Now, my family, I love my family. And all of you as sportswomen know, my kids have grown up there. Zach, Alex, Jacob. And Stephanie has been an absolute big part of this whole thing. She has been the rock. She's been my rock. And I needed to make sure that like my wife and my kids were happy. And I felt good about that. And I felt sports performance was growing, and I loved every inch of it. And I had to really look at it myself. And I hadn't done this before because I was so busy trying to make sure everybody else was happy that I needed to look at myself. And I remember looking in the mirror one day, and my beard was grown out so far. I hadn't had a haircut in like 3 weeks, and I had gained 52 pounds over before when I started sports performance. And I had to say to myself, does this make me happy? And so I had to set my own targets. And my goal was, I want to get down to, funny story, I told my wife, I want to get down to the weight that I met her at, which was 185. So I had a long journey. I think I was like almost 250, 247, 245 pounds. And I set out a goal. I was like, okay, well, maybe I can do this. And I set myself a realistic goal. I wanted to lose 50 pounds and over a year, which was 50 pounds in 52 weeks. That's 1 pound a week. And I set that target. And if I set that target long term, that kind of makes sense. It's like, it's realistic. I can do it. And I had to make a lot of changes personally to make sure that was going to be met. And so I had to focus on myself. And I had to first establish a goal. Because some people say, well, like, I need to lose 10 pounds. Like, for what? Well, to make my pant size look better. That's not a goal. Like, what's the real reason you need to do this? Like, what's the weight that you want to get down to? And then that way you can set a really good goal. So we'll set 1 or 2 goals. And I think you have to do that. So for myself, it was 50 pounds in 52 weeks. Can I do this? That was the first step. I had to look at this myself and say, is this really what I really want? Now, you can always say like, well, I want to get better at time management. I want to spend more time here. I want to do less. I want to go to the gym more. No. Let's start there for what's the overarching goal. If you don't have a goal, this is the biggest challenge I have with clients who come in. They say, Chris, I want to get rid of my knee pain. Great. Can I ask you a question? Why? It's been bothering me. Great. With what? Going up and downstairs. Great. How is that impacting your life? Well, it just irritates it. No, there's a reason why people come to see us, and it's because it impacts to a certain degree. You no longer can do something. So I need to know what that one thing is. Well, the truth is, I can't play with my grandkids. I see. Or I haven't been able to play soccer with my kids, or when I play with them, it irritates it. Or my Spouse is going to the gym. I want to be able to go to the gym with them and I can't. Great. That's a better goal for me than I need to get rid of my knee pain. And I need to understand that, because if I do, then I know what the target is. The target is I want to go with my spouse to the gym. How many days? 5. 5 days a week without being interfered with knee pain. That to me is a fantastic goal. I just need to know it. So I can't answer that for you. You need to answer that. So establish 1 or 2 goals. So if you don't have that, it's hard for me to help you. So the biggest thing I ask people to say is, don't give me the goal, and then how is this going to make you happy? How is achieving this goal going to make you more happy than you are now? That's what you really have to do, because if you want to target without making you happy, it's really hard to do it. So for some people, it's lose weight. Okay, I want to get rid of my back pain. Why? How is this going to make you, how is getting rid of your back pain going to make you happy? Well, I won't be so grumpy. Okay. With who? My spouse. Great. So that means there's other challenges that it's impacting a relationship. That's a big deal. But if you don't come to terms with that or don't know, it's hard for me to help. So number one, you got to establish that goal and figure out, how is this going to make you happy? Number two, now, this is an interesting one. People establish goals, but what you need to do is establish the habits that need to be upgraded to achieve those goals. And this is where most people fail. So what is standing in your way of achieving that goal right now? So for instance, if you're like, I want to lose 10 pounds, what's standing in your way? Why couldn't you do it 2 months ago? What is the 1, 2 things that's standing in your way to do it? Well, I wasn't motivated. Why weren't you motivated? Well, I looked at myself in the mirror. There was something that really like finally did it, that you had an aha moment of. Or maybe it's the back pain. Well, it interfered with my, and listeners, this is a true story. It interfered with my ability to be intimate with my partner, you might say. And that is a real deal. We have that happen regularly, and it's a real deal. But if I understand that, then we can establish like what targets are. Don't It's hard to have an honest conversation if I don't know what's going to make you happy. So to set you up for success, if you're like, I'm battling foot pain and I'm not be able to run and it's making me gain weight, then I know that going to 5Ks, marathons, half marathons keeps your weight down to make you happy. Great. Now, what's standing in your way? It's not about, if it's, money, it's usually not, that's usually not the case. It's like, well, I need new shoes. Well, that's never the case. It's like you can find resources somewhere else. It's like, well, there's something lacking to be able to push you get to, or the edge to be able to get to the next step. So for most people, it's 3 things that are standing in the way. Ready? Motivation, accountability, or education. For some people, it's education, but you can also Google that or YouTube it and find out, well, here's all the resources. For some people, they're like, I don't know where to start. I don't know what it is to help me get there. Okay, so you need direction. We call that accountability. Like, I just need you to kind of point me in the right direction. Okay, that's perfect. Or I'm not motivated. I need somebody to do it. That's great, but I think you have to also understand what your limitations are. If you can become aware of that, it's a step in the right direction. Most people just avoid doing things because they've never thought enough about it. So if you have established 1 or 2 big goals, that's it. What's the one thing, like, well, how is this going to make you happy? Number 2, establish habits that need to be upgraded. So what's the 1 or 2 things that are standing in your way of your goal? And that's typically motivation, accountability, or education. So if you've set out your target, I want to lose 10 pounds. And I know it's gonna make me happy because I'm tired of looking at myself in the mirror and it doesn't make me feel good about myself. And I've come to terms with that. Great. What's the thing that needs to be upgraded to be able to do that? I don't do well by myself. I need support. Or I've looked it all up. It's overwhelming and I don't know which direction to go. Okay, great. Now it's direction. You need support. You need the education with a little bit of support. Sounds good. The third step on this is to find someone to help you stay on track. Now, I know what a lot of listeners are going to do. They're shaking their head like, I don't need somebody. I can do it myself. When I was trying to lose weight, I realized I couldn't do it for myself. I had to have somebody there. And for some of you, you might only trust your inner circle. So I had a conversation with my wife. I said, hey, this really means a lot to me. I need your help, not to keep me on track, but to allow me to do this and support me and don't interfere with this. What I mean by that is if I need to wake up early, please don't give me a hard time because we all like our sleep sometimes when they wake up. I don't want to wake the other person up, or I needed the person to not, I needed my wife to not buy the not so great stuff at the grocery store, or I needed less salt, or I needed less. So I needed my inner circle to know what my goals were so they can help facilitate that. Not necessarily that some people don't need, like, I don't need anybody telling me what to do or anything else, but you do need an inner circle. Everybody does, or else you have done it by yourself already. That's my point. And the reality is, whether that's your blood pressure or your heart rate or your sleep or your nutrition or your fitness or your knee pain, it's impossible to know how to fix all of those things. I have a hard time figuring out where to push people to go because at all given times they have challenges with every one of those facets. You can't change them all at the same time. You have to do little bits and chunks, and that takes time. So there's no way that you can do this by yourself. So I need you to find somebody to help keep you on track, whether that's your inner circle, your partner, or your kids, or your mom, your wife, whatever it is, your uncle, your aunt. I'm telling you right now, if you're struggling with any of those three, which you probably are, motivation, accountability, or education, and it can be in any domain. It can be nutrition. It can be, physical fitness. For some of you, you're like, oh, I can totally exercise on my own. I have a challenge with a little bit of nutrition, or I can do nutrition. I can do exercise, but I've been battling this bad hip or this bad back, and that's kind of where I need the most support. Like I can exercise, I can stay on my nutrition, but I do need some help with my bad back, or I need help figuring out how to push and pull all of these, what we call dials. My nutrition is good most of the time. My sleep is good most of the time. My fitness is good most of the time, but I have this aches and pains that seem to happen every once in a while. I need help figuring out which one should I adjust first? What does it matter? What's the order? How often should I adjust it? Which exercises? For some of you, are like, where do I start? Others are, which dial do I need to turn down just a little bit? There's nothing wrong with that. And for me, when I was going through my weight loss, I knew that I could do the exercise. I had no problem with that. I love being in a community, so I would go to the gym and meet with my community. Um, on the nutrition side, I knew what I needed to do. I just needed help from my inner circle on not putting temptation in front of me. I think that was also a big one. And then thirdly, I needed help with sleep. I then had to have a discussion with my team at Sports Performance and saying, hey, listen, we need to divvy some of these things up. We're going to take on uh, this team member is going to take on a little bit more marketing. This one's going to do a little more operations. This one's going to do a little bit more on the administrative side. And so what I did was I spoke with the team. I said, hey, here's the things I need to divvy out. And everyone was so supportive, and they're like, actually, we've been waiting for you to help offload those things. And what that did was it allowed me to focus on getting sleep and avoid overloading myself. And so because of that, that allowed me so much more time to get some sleep. And that to me was big. And if you ask me what's the number one thing that helped me lose 50 pounds in 52 weeks, it's probably sleep. And now for those some of you shaking your head like, how's it possible? I was getting about 4 to 5 hours, 6 on a good day, 4 to 5 hours of sleep. And those who've been along the journey of sports performance have seen me ebb and flow with sleep. I used to do like 9 or 10 shots of espresso and, sleep 4 hours. And I needed the support to be able to get me 8 hours of sleep. So needed to find my inner circle to help ensure that I was successful. So it's real. It's just how you want to be able to get the support that you need. So number one, establish 1 or 2 goals. What is it that's going to make you happy? Why is it going to make you happy? Number two, establish the habits that need to be upgraded. What's standing in the way of your current goal right now? And then number three, find someone to help you stay on track. And like I said, it could be motivation, accountability, or education. And for me, the fourth one, and it goes to my story and it goes to everything that you're doing. Put yourself first, hands down, right? Like you've ever been on a plane and you're about to take off and they say, hey, anytime there's a mask, if you're with a minor or a kid or a child or somebody in your family, you put your mask on first and then theirs. And the first time I heard that, I was like, this is counterintuitive. Why am I doing this? And reality is, well, if you put theirs on first and you faint, you can no longer help them. And the reality is you have to be able to have that consciousness so that way you can help out more people. You risk so much. And so if you put yourself first, I think you need to put your mask on first so that you can be successful. And I really truly did that because building sports performance and working with the team, I realized I was putting everybody first and I needed to switch that to help myself first. And what I did was you have to realize you have to put yourself first, but avoid relying on you to do it all. That's an interesting combo. And if you've tried to do it all on anything, it's very, very challenging. Yes, you can hard work, you can hustle, and you can try and go to the gym by yourself and do all these other things. And you can look on Google and find fitness templates to be able to do it, and YouTube and the best stretching and everything else. And what happens? You have this ebb and flow of motivation, right? Just because you're like, well, nobody's there. So I'm like, nobody's looking at you, nobody's judging you. What happens is your effort drops, your consistency drops, your motivation drops. Even though you're going to the gym, what's better? 5 days of average workouts or 3 days of like amazing sessions? You have to ask, is it worth your time? And so if you thought about like trying to do it on your own, it just never works. Think about like marriage, think about weight loss, think about, raising kids. It's very, very difficult. You always need team members. And what I mean by that is if you have kids, and I have 3 kids, you can't do it by yourself, right? It takes a village is the big term. So we rely on, man, our network, our system. We need our neighbors, we need our cousins, we need our family. There's different times when some people can't fill in slots, and so it's great to have a network and a family. You can't do it by yourself. And just like weight loss, it's not possible. School, it's not possible. You need a teacher, you need like a network, you need a study group, you need all these other things. And if you're wherever you are, it's very difficult to do by yourself. And if you're doing by yourself, you're fighting an uphill battle. And what I'm saying is put yourself first, but avoid relying on doing it all on yourself. Not possible. You're not going to get the same results. So it's a hard scenario. And for all of you listening, I have people in Chula Vista, I have people in San Diego, I have people in Northern California, I have people in Texas, Florida, Ohio, Pennsylvania, wherever you are. It's a hard scenario, but it's the answer that I give to all the clients I serve. And I think you need to find your own answer within all of this. So if you're looking like, Chris, how do I set myself up for success in the new year? You were like looking for like, oh my gosh, you're gonna need to drink this much water. You're like, need to get this much sleep. I'm not doing that to you today because you can find that information everywhere. You can find every single website to find what's the best ratio of water for you to drink. You can look up the best quality of water. I don't care. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to give you a framework that will be actionable and that you actually want to do. And for me, as we build more services, more programs to service people, what we're doing is answering the questions that you always give us. And for this, the most amount of clients who have asked us, like, what do I need to do to step up my game in the next year? And so I tell people all the time, if you're looking for next level thinking, you have to be able to take a bigger, wider lens into like, what are you not doing? And the hardest part when clients come see us is the lens they have is only what they've read or seen. And so if you're looking for truly how to build success, you have to be able to do at least these top 3 and in the top 4. Now figuring out your own answer. Now you can try and create your own program. Go for it. Tell me how that works. Give me a call in about a year and see how that works. Not possible. We have it, we see it. Numerous clients will always tell us, hey, Chris, I tried it on my own for about 2 years, didn't work. I went to see other people, didn't work. No one really kept me on track. And that's what it really came down to. So if you ask me, and I mentioned this at the beginning, if you ask me, hey, Chris, tell me more about these memberships. What are you doing? And so we are starting memberships, or kind of our wellness club. It's for the person who knows how to steer themselves in the right direction. They just need a little bit of turning the dial, right? They're like, hey, I kind of just need like a little tune up, a little bit of information. I don't need a ton. I've been doing this a long time. So when people start with us, they find out like, well, gosh, they need services to get them out of pain. They just need a lot of education. As they work more with us, they realize, gosh, now I know how to do it. I just need adjusting the dials. So our solution is to be able to create more of these wellness clubs to be able to help the right people move on to that next level. And we do have more programs coming down the line, so I'm excited to launch those in the next year. But for the upcoming months, people have asked us for this, so we are designing our wellness clubs at the moment, and it's all based on your feedback. So for those of you who are interested, that's coming up, and we will have special pricing options for that. And speaking of that, we also have amazing opportunities for those of you going into the holidays. We service a lot of people, whether that's law enforcement, fire department, or people who work for the county, for the state. Everyone has different opportunities within their job. Some people have, if you've never heard of this, FSA and HSA accounts. And what this allows people to do is be able to purchase things pre-tax or allocate money into a pre-tax account and be able to use that for medical services, for wellness services, for various things, whether that's a pillow or orthotics, whatever it is. And so as it comes to the year end, a lot of people have asked, hey, Chris, how do I take advantage of this and also get some savings? So we have some holiday sales coming up in December of 2022. For those who are listening, we rarely do this. We like rarely, for those who've been around for a long time, it's probably been 2 or 3 years since we've done this. It's only because the number of people that have asked, and we totally understand, and we want to be able to help you, but also offer, you know, promotions and offers to be able to support you during this interesting time in the economy. So we want to be able to help you out. So that's coming up in the last 2 or 3 weeks of December. You'll have to check out our website coming up. I think it's for Sports Performance PT /holiday sale. I'm not 100% confident, but we'll get that ready to rock and roll for you. So we have holiday promotions coming at the end of December. We also have pricing opportunities and upgrades for memberships in our wellness club. So if you're interested in that, that is going to be perfect for you. And the reason why I say this is because ultimately, everything works for you at different stages. There aren't opportunities for you that you would say like, oh, I'll never do that, because in a couple of years, as you start advancing, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm doing it, Chris. But how do I keep it up? And so for the people who are looking to start from ground zero, I've never been treated, I don't know what to do. I think you need to start with the foundation. Set a big goal, figure out the habits that you need to be upgraded. 3, find somebody to help you on track, and then put yourself first. Number 4. For those who've been seeing people and they're like, I'm looking for what's next. Now we're talking. You still need to talk to get those big goals going on, establish habits, find somebody to upgrade you and constantly upgrade you. You've put yourself first. Now you figured it out. Now I'm like, okay, so now what adjustments do I need to make? And so for those of you who, this is a big question, how do you set yourself up for success? It depends where you are on the spectrum. Some of you are far along, you're an expert. Some of you are like, Chris, I don't even know where to start. And others who are like, I have a general idea. I just need to know which way to go. Do I go left or right? How aggressive do I be? And for wherever you are, all these tips are going to help you dramatically. And so for those of you who are looking for the dials or you're looking for that resource, I just need a little bit of motivation, a little bit of accountability, a little bit of education. That's where I think that these holiday sale opportunities are going to be great for you, because you can then decide on, what is that you need. All our providers and specialists are going to be able to help you with any of those. It just depends on what you need, whether you need rehab or you need wellness services or you need fitness and, upgrading your health. It truly depends on whatever you need. So wherever you are on this planet and on your fitness and health journey, we've created these opportunities for you, and I just want to say thank you for your input. I'm coming off the Thanksgiving holiday, so first and foremost, I want to say thankful. I'm very, very thankful for you as a listener. I'm thankful for the community that we have built in Chula Vista and Sports Performance, and amazing human beings who truly just value their health and they're looking for what's next. I am thankful for the people who have supported us, whether you've seen us, you've never seen us, you have no intent to ever see us. Thank you for supporting us for wherever you are. It has been an incredible journey, and believe me, we're not done. We'll have some exciting news in the upcoming months, and with all the things that are growing, and it's only because of you. And I have to reiterate that constantly because you are the reason why we're here. You're the reason that we service people. You're the reason why we keep growing is because of your feedback, your input. Why don't you do this? How about this? What would you do here? And so I'm thankful for you. I just want to say thank you. I know that we have the holidays coming up. Look, we're going to continue the holidays into the new year, and I'll do another episode on the new year. But ultimately, we are thankful for you and your success into the new year will be determined by these four things. And whatever questions you have about what's the next step, what should I do, how do I do it, send us an email, teamsp@sportsperformancept.com. If you're interested in those holiday sales, be on the lookout on our website, sportsperformancept.com, or on social media at sportsperformancept. And if not, stay on to the podcast, keep listening, keep tuning in, and I hope you continue to exercise, keep pushing the limit, find your goals, figure out what's missing. Why are you not happy with the current state of your knee, your back, your health, whatever it is, and then establish the habits that need to be upgraded. It's really literally it. Put yourself first and love yourself for who you are because you're amazing and we appreciate you. Okay. All right. I will see you on the next episode. Take care, everyone. Bye.